Oh, yeah, are we live? Oh, it says I'm live. I think I'm live. What's up, everybody? Let's go. Happy Monday. A fine Monday indeed. Yeah. It's a fine coffee mug. Some heavy blues metal. Some here. Some more right there. Yeah, buddy. What's good? Oh, yes. Yeah. What's good, everyone? What's up, world? What's up, YouTube? What's up, friends? What's up, enemies? What's good? Happy Monday. Welcome to this fine Monday morning edition of BS with B. Hannas. That's me. I call myself Nikki B. Hannas online, sometimes in real life too. And we're out here bullshitting, just chilling, man. This is my morning little YouTube talk show podcast. Whole premise of this is I'll wake up and I'll take a nice walk. I'll fucking read some good stuff. And I'll come out here and talk to the people. You guys are my people if you're here. So, for better or worse, I'm going to hang out and talk with y'all. When I'm done here, I'll go lift some weights, go to work, go about my business, go live my life. This is supplementary. I like to come out here and talk about things I think are interesting or talk about things I'm reading, share some of my hard earned, alleged knowledge, alleged wisdom, things that maybe I'll pass off as knowledge or wisdom at least. Pass some of that shit off to my people, man. Yeah, it's a Monday, dude. It's fucking springtime, too. Thank God. Thank the good Lord for this change in the weather. Holy shit. The past couple of weeks, I've been just depressed and miserable and angry and pissed off and irritable and cranky and grumpy and so on and so forth. Felt like a breath of life yesterday, dude. Daylight savings time kind of fucks me up a little bit, but that's all right. That's all right. Now it's the season. Now it is the depressive season, the winter, the time of death and rebirth. Now we're leaning into rebirth. So it's a fine way to start the day. I woke up. I had to I've been if you know me personally or if you listen to this a little bit, like mornings are a struggle for me. Mornings are not easy for me. They've never been easy for me. In fact, when I was a teenager, rest in peace to my mama Dukes. But when I'm a kid in middle school and high school and shit, much of my life was defined by my mother yelling at me, "Get out of bed, get out of the house. You're gonna be late for the bus, and I'm not bringing you to school." And it was always last minute, haphazard. All right, yeah, I'm going. I'll get there. Yeah, I'm going. Eventually, I did it. I rarely missed the bus, and if I did, I had friends I could call to give me a ride, and I wasn't playing hooky. I wasn't getting no truancy charges filed to the parents and shit. It was only when I started smoking cigarettes that I had a. That's how fucked up I am. It was only when I was a 17-year-old kid walking down the street to a different bus stop, not the one where my parents could see me down the road. I would walk to the other one so I could light up a cigarette on the way down. Yeah, man, that's just back in the day. Ain't it funny? Ain't it funny how some of those, maybe I'm just fucked up enough or traumatized enough. Maybe there's just a developmental block of some sort where I haven't grown up. Maybe I'm still 17 inside. Someone on YouTube one time said I peaked in kindergarten. So maybe there's some type of fucking complex there. That's all right. That's all right, man. That's all right. Because I'll tell you what I did. In lieu of that, and with the renewal of the season, with the renewal of the thumos, the higher thumos state with the nice weather out here, the world working with us instead of working against us, natural seasons and so on and shit. But I got like a spray bottle and I keep cold water in it. So I wake up and I take a piss and I brush my teeth. And as soon as I'm done brushing my teeth, I fucking just spray myself like 7 or 8 times like a cat. Just blast myself with cold water in the face. That'll wake the fuck up. Cause that shit's embarrassing, dude. Oh, I overslept. It's like the saddest. most pathetic. Adults should not oversleep. Men, especially, should not be beheld into their bed, rejecting the idea of getting up and fucking getting after it. But it's so comfortable. Yeah, I know. But the world's a mess. Oh, it sure is. But I don't have anything to look forward to. No, you don't. That's all right, though. Get the fuck up. And it's always when I reflect on my morning time and the fact that I struggle with it. Ever and even like the biggest, most successful people say it's the hardest thing in the world. So I could use that as a crutch and be like, but it's hard for everybody. I'm just not that good. And then it's like, do you keep trying? you know, do you keep trying at least? Or do you just give up and say, I'm not a morning person? Then you turn into a fucking happy Monday. It's a Monday. You turn into that fucking type of person, which is only so far away from it's Friday. Now you're that type of person. I don't want to be any of those types of people. So I woke up and sprayed myself with cold water like a cat. And then I did like 10 burpees when I'm like half asleep with terrible form, the goofiest, most suspect fucking burpees in the world. And when I was going down, because, you stand and you jump down to a push up position, do the push up, jumped back to like a squat, squat up, 1 rep. But every time I'm going down to the fucking push up, my feet are like sliding against the carpet. So it was just so awkward and goofy. But good, good. That's what Jocko likes to say, especially about mornings. Yeah, it's hard getting up in the morning. Good. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. But that's just a guy who's been doing it his whole life. Yeah, so maybe you should fucking listen to him, the military guys. But he's a podcast bro. He's a military podcast bro. Yeah, well, good. Listen to him. That's a smart motherfucker. Dude's seen some shit. It's what I'd said before, when I'm reading these self-help books and, personal development style books, people like Jocko, there's a reason they're the top of the pile. There's a reason they're the biggest names in that particular game because that's all the hardest life you could have chosen for yourself. The hardest job you could have done for X amount of years. To come back from that, that's a reality I don't understand. Shit, I'm a guitar player. I'm only sober for a couple years. Like, I work in a burger joint, dude. I got this fledgling business I'm trying to start in the media world. I should probably listen to a Navy SEAL. I should probably listen to as many Navy SEALs as I have the ability to. I should listen to any motherfucker who's out here sharing what they've learned in life, you know? Like, it was a pretty classic a certain era of YouTube, maybe 2018, 19, a certain era of pop culture, and how it overlaid with everything, pre-COVID, but peak Trumpomania before we realized the orange man's a fucking sellout piece of trash. Sorry, I know he's the president and shit, but he's a fucking redcoat as far as I'm concerned. Blue helmet, whatever. Insert epithet there. But there's the one old school YouTube video where it's Jordan Peterson and Jocko Willink, and here you go. You have the fucking suit and tie guy academic and the big buff fucking hardened Navy SEAL. And it's, they're just sharing what they've learned in life through their experience, whether it's the collegiate track, whether it's a fucking military tour of service, whether it's arguing with the Canadian government about pronouns or, leading a squad through the Battle of fucking Ramadai. I should just be a student. We should all just be students of this shit, you know, especially the military guys. When I struggle in the mornings, I think to myself, man, if I dislike my job a lot of times, if I feel a type of way about being a burger flipper or about, still working on my mixtape, if I feel a type of way about all this stuff and I can't even get out of bed in the morning sometimes, that's a struggle for me. Maybe I should have signed up for the service way back then. Maybe I should have been a military man as a young bull. When they came to the to the salad works I was working at in the mall, when those recruiters came on, maybe I should have been a little more open to it. I would go back to the freezer and smoke weed. I would go out to the dumpster and smoke weed. Yeah, this it's been a life, man. So here we are. Here we are after it. The whole premise of this, I mean, like I said, I come out here and talk about things I think are interesting. Maybe it's helpful to someone out there on the internet. Maybe not, you know? But I think about that a lot, and it's what do I And like I said, also, I make music. That's half the reason I'm out here on the internet in the first place. That's why I have this alias of mine, Nikki B. Hannas, because I'm a musician. I make music and put it out there. It's available for streaming and all that. Where's I going with that? I was going somewhere with that. Fuck, total mind fuck. I totally drew a blank on it, dude. But yeah, it's just interesting to me, bro. It's just interesting. There, I know where I was going with that. So if I make music, and I call my music heavy blues metal, and then I kind of, that's one thing that I can offer. That's one product I create. And if now this talk oriented podcast and just like the military men, just like the academics, just like these people. And I'm just sharing things that I've learned. I'm just sharing stuff I've picked up in my life, thoughts I've thought, things I've seen, lessons I've learned. I'm just sharing it. We all have that in common. But if I had to synthesize it, I call it what's on my coffee mug? Heavy blues metal. What's on my hoodie? Heavy blues metal. That's what I do. That's the style of music. That's the convention of music that I make. But it's more than that to me, man. It's becoming almost like my life stance, like my creed almost, my philosophy, my life positioning. Because I'm so influenced by listening to people share their stuff and reading people share their stuff that like, God damn it, I got something to share too, for whatever it is. But I'm just a dude, man. I like to play my guitar and lift weights and you gotta go to work, gotta pay the bills, gotta roll with the punches, gotta fight the matrix in what limited ways we fucking can. So how does the average person deal with this? I'm not of the gentleman class. I'm not of the elite class, the Epstein class, the protected class, the enshrined class. No, I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude out here trying to fucking get after it, bro. Can't stress that enough. And maybe that's self deprecation. Maybe that's minimizing my contribution. Maybe it's a projection of a fractured self esteem. Maybe it's some bullshit. I don't know. But, when you're part of the masses, when you're part of the pros, when you're just one of many, part of the mob, part of the unruly, you're just a common man, a working man, blue collar motherfucker. What does it matter? This is a tension I wrestle with. What does my opinion on the orange man matter? What is my opinion on the Iranian war that we allegedly were never going to get into, but here we are. It's not even a war. War is peace. Don't forget it. Freedom is slavery, etc. What does my opinion on any of that shit really matter? I don't know. It's tough because we're just living day by day, trying to live each day in the best way we can. And we know if we're putting our best foot forward, we know when I wake up and I know I need to get the fuck up out of bed. I know it. I can't get back under the covers and fall asleep like a bitch. Can't do it. Yeah, we do it anyway. And we're all more alike than we're not alike. I believe that. So why? That's the thing to me. Heavy blues metal is I need to make this thing that I have that is this vague, fuzzy concept. I need to make it real. I need to live by it. It's got to be my creed. Like I said the other day when I was reading Simon Sinek, you know, your actions demonstrate what you believe. Fuck what you say. That was from Start With Why. I'm just paraphrasing it and throwing some profanity on it, but fuck what you say. What you do is what you believe. You make evident your beliefs and how you live. You make evident your beliefs and values and how you act. The things you say, the things you do. Not even what you say. Fuck, like I said, fuck what you say. Fuck what I say. It's about what I do. How the fuck can I come out here and talk about getting better when I choose to get back in bed every morning? Soft ass bitch. But I didn't do it today. Maybe I just needed the reinvigorating power of the springtime, the natural seasons on this realm that is the earth, and my portion of it, this beautiful part of southeastern Pennsylvania. Maybe I just needed it to work in my favor. Maybe it's all inside. That's what the masters say. It's all inside, man. Yeah, it is. And to the average person, to the one who ain't got it all figured out yet, but is clawing their way out of hell, crawling through the fucking wreckage that is this bullshit out here that we were born into, that we had no choice in the making of, really. Mix that with choices and the compound interest effect of choices that are not always so good. That's where I find myself, man. And I ain't alone. So this is when I say I'm coming out here and talking to my people, that's who I'm fucking talking to. Trying to live my best way and be actually authentic, doing what I have to do and striving for more and trying to get more out of life and not knowing how to get more out of life, but, committing to figuring that out and then acting that out. Don't matter if I say it unless I do it. And sometimes that means you got to buy a spray bottle, $1.49 spray bottle intended for chemical cleaning from the Walmart. Keep it next to my sink so when I brush my teeth, I can blast myself like I'm a feline. Wake the fuck up, dude. Hit the floor, do some burpees. And I'll tell you what, it worked. I didn't go to fucking sleep. I didn't get back in bed like a pussy today. No, sir. I made some coffee and did a bunch of reading. I'm on my new book now. Speaking of military men and speaking of self help, here's another reason why I like self help a whole lot. Because there's people out there that I'll never meet, that I've never seen. I've never shaken their hands. I've never made eye contact with, but I can read a book and they'll tell me the succinct version of all they need to think I might need to know. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And when it comes to that, yeah, I like to seek out the military men. I like to seek out the military men. I would like to hold them all in a high respect because that's a hard motherfucking job. It's a lot harder than cleaning a deep fryer. I'll put it that way. But anyway, so here's the new one, right? Here's the new John I got. Nobody is coming to save you. A saying we all love to talk about on the internet. No one's coming to save you guys. You shouldn't have put your trust in Donald Trump. Yeah, I know. Shame on me for thinking, yeah, so on and so forth. Let's just leave that the fuck alone. No spiraling before 10 a.m. Only constructive, positive things. So yeah, nobody is coming to save you. A Green Beret's Guide to Getting Big Shit Done. Interesting. You've got my attention, sir. By Lieutenant Colonel Scott Mann, retired. And as I'm reading the first, getting into it, I just started yesterday, so I'm only a few pages in, about 30 or so. There's something that something I talk about a lot, it's how to resist the bullshit. How do we make sense of it? How do we navigate it? Because most of us, without being a doomer, without overdosing on black pills, it's like, what the fuck can we do to actually do this shit? Like, what can we do to actually change it? That's a real question that no one seems to have an answer for. All these people out here calling for revolution, and no one can actually tell me a meaningful, actionable step towards doing it. The answer to that I tend to like, which is Andy Frisella's big thing, is, strive for personal excellence, achieve it. It takes time, but work at that relentlessly. Be in the pursuit of, my best self. Absolutely. Be in the pursuit of your best self because personal excellence seems to be the only and therefore ultimate rebellion. So that's the stuff Andy talks about a lot. And I've learned a lot from that dude. Just another guy on the internet. Just another guy on the internet, right? Another podcast, bro. Anyway, so as I'm reading this book, Mr. Scott Mann, he, military dude, comes back from his tours, comes back from his duty, and is shocked and appalled at the state of America. Yeah, man, divisive, confrontational, aggressive. He summarizes it basically as being a low trust society, a destabilized and low trust society, and it has to be fixed. As we've learned in the past 10 years of Trumpomania, whatever your opinion, it cannot be fixed from the top down. It has to, therefore, be fixed from the bottom up. So he put it this way. He calls the phenomenon. I want to read a little bit from it too. Getting to the 20-minute mark. That's why I'm here early. Cool. He calls it let me see. So that's the page I want to read. He has a really good term for it. If some of us call it the matrix, some of us call it, I like to call it psychic warfare. Clutch taught me that. Psychic warfare is real. He calls this phenomenon going on in our world the zeitgeist, the confrontational and divisive element to it. All the bullshit out here. He describes it as this. He says, we know something is wrong, but we don't know what it is exactly, and we sure as shit don't know what to do about it. He calls it the churn. The churning. There's a churn going on, and he stylizes it with a capital C. And I think that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it from a Green Beret that I've never met, but I can read his book and talk about it on the internet. We got to be careful of the churn and what it does to us. That's the thing that gives us righteous anger. That's the thing that makes us fucking look at our fellows, our neighbors, our friends, our associates, someone who votes differently or styles themselves differently. That makes us look at them as an enemy. It makes them look at us as an enemy. I'm sure there's some people in my natural orbit that look at me and consider me to be an enemy just because of the flags right behind my fucking head or because of who I voted for. I didn't get what I voted for, let the record show, and I was played for a fool just like everybody else. Let the record show. So what do we do with it? That's what I talk about this shit all the time. What do I do with that on a meaningful basis, on a day to day, actually as a regular person just living my life? It's interesting. The churn. I like the way that he says it. I like the way that he says it. The churn that puts you in a trance. Yes, sir. And that's fucking been the state of things for a long time. That ain't new. It just seems new. It might be its newest form. It might be its newest incarnation of the same effect, but that churning, that stirring of the pot has been going on for a long time. And awareness, I talk about awareness on here a lot. I read a lot of things focusing in on awareness and the metaphysical implications of being aware, you know? Taking the red pill, taking the blue pill. What do you do, Neo? What do you do, Neo? The Matrix is real. Yeah. So what do we do with it? That's the thing. I like how he says it. He says that we know something is wrong, but we don't know what it is exactly, and we sure as shit don't know what to do about it. So here's today's lesson. Be aware of the churn and resist the trance. Resist the psychic warfare. Resist it because it fucking gets in your head and it's gonna take you. It's gonna take you away. And yeah, so I just want to read this and then I'll get up out of here. But he says, what is the churn? And this is from page 14 of Nobody's Coming to Save You. He says, the churn is volatile. If you charted it, it would look like an EKG. The churn is divisive. It creates in-groups and out-groups that don't talk to each other, but rather past each other. The churn is fear-inducing. When we are afraid, we focus more on surviving than thriving. It's like I said yesterday, my little music video commentary, my little music video reaction series, which you can find on this channel. Havoc, fear campaign. They're using fear to control you. Resist the fear campaign. Anyway, Lieutenant Colonel Scott McCann goes on to say the churn breeds uncertainty. As soon as we feel as though we have a handle on a problem, something new and unexpected appears, leaving us feeling unprepared and constantly off balance. The churn is complex. It presents us with wicked problems whose solutions are non-linear and require framing by diverse groups that are often at odds. The churn is crowded. When you're in it, it's harder to both listen and be heard. The churn is ambiguous. When you're in the churn, it is nearly impossible to see the full picture. The churn erodes confidence, not just in each other, but in institutions, businesses, nonprofits, families. It even erodes confidence in ourselves. This dude is telling no lies. What year was this written? I think this is pretty new. Some of these books I'll read and they're like kind of dated, like 06, 07. So that matters, before we have the fucking current matrix system that is social media surveillance. 2024, yeah, so this is relevant. Back up to the churn. He says the churn loathes nuance. It sure does. The churn is not interested in detailed arguments. It wants bluntness and self-righteousness. The churn doesn't care for facts. It prefers opinions fueled by fear and anger. The churn loves interruptions. It lives off pulling you one way and then the next, often multiple times per minute. The churn thrives online. All of the churn's challenges are exacerbated when encountered in the digital worlds in which we spend more and more time. The churn is relentless. It never stops, even when you get out of it. And it's not going to stop either. It is impossible to kill. These are not reasons to despair, he concludes. The churn wants you to despair. Do not let it. Yeah, man. Do not let it. Resist the need to despair, because that turns to spiraling. Fear turns to despair. Despair turns to spiraling. Spiraling turns what? To the dark side? At least to the dark arts, to the pharmakia, to the fucked up shit, to playing yourself. Giving into despair is at odds with chasing success and personal excellence, whatever that may be. Whatever that may be. And this is all stuff that I'm interested in. So on a fine Monday morning, that's what I figured I'd talk about today, man. 25 minutes in, yeah, chilling, 8:30, making great time. So yeah, happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully that isn't hopefully that's not a buzzkill. Hopefully that's not some negativity for y'all, because I'm not coming at it negative. I'm appreciative that the things that I'm sensing, the things that I'm picking up on, the things that I'm hearing, and my own conclusions I've been drawing from it all. Someone like a Green Beret, through his completely different experience in life, like that's an articulation of the same phenomenon that I don't have the prowess to posit as such. I would lace it with much more profanity and a little bit of schizo thrown in there and shit. So maybe that's worth sharing, man. But it's a Monday, so let's get back after it. I'm about to get out of here. It's Monday. It's International Chest Day, which means the bench press is calling me. Maybe you can't hear it, but if you listen closely, ooh, that sounds like a bench press introduction. Yeah, buddy, it's time to get the fuck up out of here. Thanks for hanging out on this fine Monday morning edition of BS with Hannas with me, Nikki Hannas. I do this live on YouTube throughout the week. BS with Hannas. It's out there on Spotify podcast, Apple podcast, Amazon podcast, so on and so forth. You want to support the music, check it out. Links are all in the description below here on YouTube. NikkiBHannas.com, NikkiBHannas.bandcamp.com, Nikki Hannas on all streaming services. You want to support the mission? I built the web store. I think the products will be cool. I ain't tested them yet, but that link is down there. Some heavy blues metal merch. Got a Patreon for a concise, steady feed of all my creative endeavors, music, talk, so on and so forth. You can buy me a coffee if you like. There's a link down there. You can subscribe to the channel if you like. Comment. Tell me if you think I stink. You tell me what you think. You guys tell me what you want, because I don't know, but I need to take some fucking pre-workout and go slay some bench presses. We're chasing 315. We are chasing 315, and we're gonna fucking get there as long as we don't fucking give into the churn first. Anyway, keep it real. One love. Happy Monday. Motherfucking peace. Hey, yo!